I'm Mike with the Hunt Fish Shoot channel, coming at you for the Armory Life. Today, I'm going to help you determine what you may need to get started as far as gear for a backcountry hunting experience. As you see here on the table, there's a lot of stuff. However, all of this stuff here on this table either gets worn or can fit here in this Stone Glacier pack. Again, it's a lot of stuff, but let's get into it. With all this gear, it's not going to be any real particular order. However, these are items that from backcountry hunting I have deemed a necessity, okay? So let's start with something that's obviously more important, medical equipment. So this here is just a simple medical kit. It's an ultralight one. It's very light, easy to throw in your pack, doesn't take up a lot of weight. The other one I have here, this one here is a little bit more comprehensive. It has a chest seal in here for gunshot type wounds, as well as a Cat 7 tourniquet, and then a survival blanket and a few other gauze patches and things like that. Very, very important. Outside of our medical equipment, I have a GPS. With the GPS, this model I have here, this is actually an InReach. This is an older model, however, I've had this for quite a while. What this model here allows me to do is with no cell phone reception, I can still communicate with the outside world. In most of those places that you go and hunt, you have no cell phone reception. This here allows me to have that. It links up with my phone through Garmin's EarthMate app, and it works very, very well. It is a costly service. However, we're talking something that costs you $50 to go on your trip, and that's a month's worth of service when you go. It allows me to send messages back to my wife, and as well as that, has an SOS button. If you are in a really, really bad situation, your life's in peril, you can actually flick a switch on here, hit SOS, and a search and rescue team will come to find you at that location. Most likely, it's also going to be a helicopter service. So, could be a very expensive trip. However, it's something you definitely need. Outside of your medical equipment, you need to be able to drink plenty of water. With that, I have a couple different filtration systems I have here. This is an MSR pump type one, which that I can sit it in a river, pump water, pump it into my Nalgene bottle like this. This one here, this is a Katadyn. This is actually a hanging water bag. So what it has is a filter, and all it does is gravity feeds through it and allows me to hang it up at a base camp, fill it up, and then I can just fill up my bottle at the beginning of the day. I don't carry this around with me every day if I'm backpack hunting. I leave it at the base camp per se, fill it up, and I'm good to go. So very nice system with that. Smaller than that, and let's say a somewhat emergency, I always carry a smaller single bottle or single use filtration type device. Something like a Life Straw works very, very well. After you have all of your medical equipment, some water, stuff like that, footwear and taking care of your feet. Most importantly, you need a good pair of merino wool socks. These ones here are from Darn Tough. Can't recommend their stuff enough. They make really, really good socks. These socks themselves are nearly 4 years old. No cuts, they're not wearing out or anything like that. And Darn Tough socks also have a lifetime warranty. Boots oftentimes are overlooked. A good pair of hunting boots will be expensive. This pair in particular, these are actually going to be Zamberland Wasatch boots. They're Gore-Tex, they're uninsulated, which I prefer for a backcountry type hunt because you're gonna walk a lot and your feet are gonna get hot if you have insulation. And ultimately they're gonna keep warm enough, and if you start to get cold, just start walking. They offer a lot of ankle support. I've worn a lot of different boots out west. When you wear different boots, you'll learn that you want ankle support and you need a very rigid sole because it helps with stability and it will lead so you don't get injuries. So you can go through boots, you can get by with something that's cheaper with less support. However, I would highly recommend a good pair of boots from something like Zamberland, Scarpa, Crispy. There's a lot of companies that make really, really good boots out there. After you get out of your footwear, you got your clothing. So you're gonna have some base layers. I usually always wear a merino wool synthetic type blend. These ones here work well. They're lightweight and they keep you dry, but they'll also keep you warm. I'll bring a, let's say a heavier type fleece with me to where I don't always wear it the whole time. And then I'll have pants. I'm a big Sitka gear, let's say advocate per se. I've had their stuff for a while. I've worn it in a ton of different conditions. It is expensive. I've worn, Under Armour, Realtree stuff from Walmart. I've worn it all. This stuff for me has turned out to be the best. But with that being said, you can wear the other stuff. It's just you may not be as comfortable per se. It may not hold up to the elements as well. So good bit of gear you can have, some pants, jacket. This one here is a lightweight like loft type jacket, Berber fleece inside. It keeps me warm when it's colder in the morning. It's usually pretty warm if you're bow hunting during the day. If it's wintertime, it'll be cold almost all day, but a lot of archery type hunting, you need that. I have insulation pieces, down jacket here with a puffy jacket, a vest. I have pants that I can throw on if I'm glassing or something like that and it's cold outside and I need to stay warm while I'm being static. With that being said, is undoubtedly when you're in the backcountry, you're going to run into conditions that you didn't expect. Let's say you go out in September and you're on an archery hunt in, let's say, Idaho. Well, the temperature is 70 degrees. You wake up the next day, it's 30 degrees and snowing. What are you going to do? You need a foul weather gear set. I think it's extremely important. Oftentimes a good set is overlooked. This one is also Sitka. Both these pieces are Gore-Tex. They have kept me dry. I have never gotten wet wearing these. I've worn them in a number of conditions. They're expensive. You will spend a lot of money to have them. However, this set here is almost 4 years old, still keeps me dry. I wear it quite often, especially here even in Ohio when I'm deer hunting because it rains a lot. I think it's extremely important to have that type of stuff. If you have any type of electronics like your phone or GPS, having a battery pack to charge those devices works really, really well. Usually you might end up going back to your vehicle if you're backcountry hunting with a backpack. You may go back, you may not, but having one of these on you and handy is very, very useful. When you're in the backcountry, a good set of binoculars and a bino harness is really important. It helps you carry your binos at the ready. The set I have here is a pair of loop-holed Alpine ones. I've had these for a little while. They work well. These are 10 by 52s, and I really like how that they fit and they look and they gather a lot of light. Having a rangefinder is extremely important. I do carry a Vortex, this one here being the Ranger. It works really, really well. You have to have, let's say, binoculars and a rangefinder, in my opinion, when you're hunting in the backcountry, because you need to be able to identify what you're going to shoot at, as well as if you're using archery in particular, you definitely need to know your range that you're going to be shooting at. Lens pen for that. Have a little wind checker here that I keep on this Sitka bino harness. And a lot of times this has another pouch. I'll throw a multi-tool in there, maybe a magazine for a pistol or something like that in there as well, and keep that stuff at the ready because it's on my chest. Again, you can wear all this stuff. So after you have all your gear, you have to have a place to put it. Backpack. So this model here, this is a Stone Glacier R3 pack. It's very, very lightweight. This is a sub 6 pound backpack. It's extremely important to have lightweight gear because it starts to really add up when you're backpacking. So this pack is extremely light. I'm able to put everything you see on this table and more, including food and other items, inside this pack with no issues. It's comfortable. Granted, backpacks, a good one is generally pretty expensive. Numa makes a great one. Stone Glacier obviously here makes a good one. Exo Mountain Gear, Mystery Ranch, Kafaru. There's a ton of great packs out there. I just recommend doing a little research and picking what you might want. This model is 3,300 cubic inches and it allows me to put a ton of stuff in here. It stretches a little bit and on top of that breaks away when you have to go to pack, let's say, meat. Food-wise, I do have some Mountain House meals and things like that that I'll carry. Mountain House, Alpine Air, it's another one that you can buy. None of them taste really good in my opinion. They're good enough for what you're doing when you're out there. They fulfill you, they usually have a lot of calories in them, and they keep you from basically being hungry. I will recommend making yourself little like gift bags up per se, where they have, you know, snack bars in them, candy bars, sugar, sweets like that, because it just makes your experience more enjoyable when you don't get to sit down and have a good steak dinner. All that gear I have here, a couple little survival type things. I do always carry a survival blanket with me. I have actually used this because those weather conditions, they change. And when that happens, you have to be able to adapt to it and stay warm. And that can really help a lot. A good sleeping bag is important. I use a big Agnes bag myself. It's a 0-degree bag. I'm a little bit of a freeze baby, quote unquote. So I get cold at night. I like to be warm. And then I have a good pad to go with that. And it's a Thermarest pad that actually goes into the bottom of the sleeping bag. And it helps me lay and actually be comfortable. And I can truly get a very, very good night's rest with that. Along with medical stuff, I didn't cover it, but I always carry, in particular, some type of antihistamine like Benadryl, because if you start having an allergic reaction, you can take a Benadryl and literally save your own life. I always have some Tylenol, extra batteries. For a headlamp, I pretty much just carry a headlamp. On occasion, I'll have an additional light in the pickup truck or something like that, but a headlamp is light, it's easy to carry, and it's hands-free. Knives. Extremely important. You cannot go into the backcountry without a good set of knives. So Havalon makes a very nice folding knife that has interchangeable blades. What I will say is that these blades are very, very sharp. They're like razor blades. They're really nice when you have to skin out an animal and quarter up elk, mule deer, ram, whatever it might be in the backcountry. You do have to change the blades. They're a little bit of a pain in the butt and you have to be careful. However, it helps you keep a very sharp blade. I do keep a more, let's say, utilitarian type knife. A little bit for me is this Knives of Alaska. This is a bush camp knife. It's a very large knife. It's a little bit heavier. However, this knife is heavy enough and has a good enough steel on it that you can literally nearly use it as a hatchet. You chop through bone, trees, and truly survive with a knife like this, and it's well made. It's something that I've carried on nearly every single hunt since I got the knife itself when I was 16 years old. So it's a very, very good knife. I love it. I do have a nice set of skinning knives also from Niceville, Alaska. Something I usually keep in the truck if I need it. I don't carry this generally in my pack because it's a little bit on the heavy side and I'm trying to save weight. In regards to cooking food, I have a very, very small stove. It's a Minimus or Primus one. It's tiny. It just connects onto the top of your little fuel canisters. You light it with a lighter. It cooks. It works very well. It's lightweight. It's tiny. Jetboil is another awesome option that you can use, but for me, I've used that and it's worked just fine. I always carry this little small coffee cup. Love coffee in the backcountry. Fire starters. Okay, there's a lot of high quality, high-end fire starting equipment that you can use, but you know what's the best? A plain old Bic lighter. These work in nearly every single condition I've ever used, and let alone they're world renowned and proven for everybody who loves cigarettes. So they work really, really well. I also carry a little bit of fire starting pack here. These items here always go with me, some matches and things like that, alternative methods to light a fire, because you're gonna definitely need one in the backcountry and you don't know what you might need it for. Outside of all your equipment, basically to take care of yourself, you know, actually skinning your game, keeping warm and everything like that, to defend yourself. I have bear spray here, and then we also have two 10mm pistols, one being the Springfield Armory Ronin in 10mm, an XDM Elite chamber in 10mm. Those options right there are for protecting myself from deadly predators. You're going to be hunting in areas likelihood that has bear, wolves, mountain lions, and of course possibly grizzly bears if you're hunting in some place like Wyoming, Montana, or Alaska, or even Idaho. So you're going to need something to defend yourself with a sidearm and bear spray used in conjunction. I think it's extremely important. Again, all of this gear here is something to kind of get you started in some things that you're going to need. There's a lot of stuff that goes into a hunt and a lot of things that you're going to need. There's undoubtedly some things that I don't have here that I'm going to take with me, such as shelter, additional food, maybe some more supplies inside the truck, whatever it might be. Remember, you can always take things in your truck, go back to it if you're hiking or backpacking and you're camping out. You can go back to your truck if you need to. If you're right at your truck, a lot of this stuff you're not going to have to carry in your backpack. If you have to carry all this stuff in your backpack, a good pack is important. Being prepared, taking the time to set up all your gear, know what it's like, know how your system works, a layering system for clothes, medical equipment, something to feed yourself, something to skin your game when you kill it. It's all extremely important. And I can't stress it enough to be prepared when you go into the backcountry, and you'll have a far more enjoyable time than someone who's not.